The Boston Celtics are the 2024 NBA champs. Despite this accomplishment, however, the team has still received heavy criticism thanks to the easy path to the finals compared to other recent champs, or even their competitors this year in the Western Conference. After their championship win, Olympic talk sparked up pretty much the moment the season ended, and with the Avengers-style Team USA and other serious contenders in Team Canada, France, Germany, and Australia, the attention of the NBA, and just basketball fans in general, was very much divided, with little of that being spent on the Boston Celtics and their most recent win. As bad as this subtle disrespect was, it could have been even worse on a personal level, as although Tatum, Jrue Holiday, and even Derek White as a last-minute sub were all selected to represent their country, there was one noticeable Celtic who was left off the roster, Jaylen Brown. This snub looks even crazier coming off last year's playoffs, where Jaylen Brown had multiple moments of taking over a game and even saving it at times, outshining his co-star Jason Tatum. Now for Tatum, Jrue Holiday, and Derek White, who as mentioned were all selected to the 2024 USA men's team, they could have been immediately locked in and might have been able to drown out the noise. But by the time the team had made it to Paris and the Olympic Games were starting up, it turned out that Jason Tatum at least was going to have a bunch of time on his hands to read up all about that disrespect. Immediately kicking off the games, Jason Tatum spent that first game on the bench. And when he did end up getting the chance to suit up, his minutes were sparse. So it's pretty doubtful that the team's going to get him back for 2028, with a slight chance of Jaylen Brown also turning them down. But this could have a resulting impact that's felt a lot sooner than 2028. For most teams coming off a championship win, there's usually a resulting hangover season, one of the contributing factors that make going back-to-back so impressive. For proof of this fact, just look at the Nuggets, Warriors, and Bucks as their most recent winners. But for the Boston Celtics and their two homegrown stars, they will have a massive chip on their shoulder thanks to their treatment by Team USA. So the usual championship hangover might not be there with the Celtics, and there's a real chance we could be witnessing the birth of a dynasty, and it's all thanks to Team USA. The duo of Tatum and Brown have been together for their entire careers, and despite individual praise, the team never really saw a whole lot of meaningful success. That was until the front office finally made the decision to move off of fan favorite Marcus Smart, who for the entire previous season had appeared to completely take over the bench and team from the coaching staff. And considering the positive impact Joe Mazzulla actually had on his team this year during their run, the departure of Marcus Smart ultimately ended up working out for them. Obviously, this was made a whole lot easier by the arrival of Jrue Holiday, who's honestly just a better version of Marcus Smart, realistically, as Jrue actually has a decent offensive IQ for the game, unlike Marcus Smart. On top of Holiday, the franchise also picked up Kristaps Porzingis in the same offseason, and that is where the franchise found a lot of their success throughout the year. Of course, as a team, they were extremely well-rounded, but the games KP was available for was when the team was at its most dominant. The post-game he was able to show over the season was truly elite, as this role in the Boston team seems to be his ideal role, giving him both the freedom to cook beyond the arc and from the post, whereas in Dallas he was usually just designated to a three-point specialist, and in New York, where they never really were able to build enough around him to make his post-game effective without immediately being collapsed on. But on this extremely deep Celtics roster, that'd no longer be a worry. After all of the moves the front office made in the offseason, their odds quickly shot up to the second best right behind the defending champs, the Denver Nuggets. So the expectations were pretty high, and thankfully for the team, they lived up to those expectations, immediately going 8-2 throughout their first 10 games this season. And one of those games was a 51-point blowout against the Pacers. This dominance continued on throughout the entire season. Aside from those two losses at the beginning of the year, they went for most of that season without taking back-to-back losses. That was until KP started to struggle with injuries at the end of the year, at which point they took 2 L's back-to-back against the Cavs and then the Nuggets. The Celtics would finish out that season with the best record in the league, but unfortunately for them, that meant they would have to face the Miami Heat, a team that's recently somewhat become a rival for them in the East. But this is where their good luck and criticism would start, as the Celtics would face a Miami Heat team without their star Jimmy Butler. They'd make short work of the Heat in 5 to face the Cavs team without their star Donovan Mitchell, made short work of the Cavs in 5 to face the Pacers without their star Tyrese Halliburton, made short work of the Pacers in 4 games for a change, and in the finals they'd meet a beaten and bruised Mavericks team who put up whatever fight they had left. But after the bloody battle in the West, it was little use, as the Celtics came out on top. So because of the little competition faced in their own run to the finals, as well as going up against an underdog Mavericks team, this kinda made the 2024 Larry O'Brien Trophy look to have small little Mickey Mouse ears growing out of it. Either way, the Celtics only had a little bit of time to relish in their win before focus was immediately shifted toward the 2024 Olympic Games.
It would only seem natural that both of the stars from the reigning champs would attend the Olympics. As mentioned earlier though, Jaylen Brown didn't make the cut. It's odd too, as Brown definitely seems to have wanted to play on the Olympic squad if his comments after the fact are anything to go by. There is good reason why Brown was so angry. Put yourself in his shoes for a second. After Brown not initially making the team, there was an opportunity that opened up. Kawhi Leonard, a two-way wing player that's very similar to Brown, couldn't play due to health reasons. Instead of selecting Brown to replace him, they not only replace Kawhi with a guard, but they replace him with a guard from his own team. That's right. When given an opportunity to pick Brown for a similar role, they chose Celtics guard Derek White. Maybe if this was where the Olympic stories ended, the Celtics would be for the most part unchanged. But when the Olympics started, Tatum was the one getting the raw end of the deal. As the Olympics went on, Tatum never found himself in a serious role to showcase his championship caliber skills, and even had to sit out 2 games. Tatum scored 21 total points in the entire Olympic gold medal run. He too ended up sharing some pretty cryptic tweets just like his co-star Jaylen Brown. Given that the other members of the Celtics that got on the roster, Derek White and Jrue Holiday, were pretty much just there to play defense, and the overall vibe the Celtics got from this Olympic run was something that they'd been feeling for a while. The feeling that they've been slept on and underappreciated by the rest of the NBA. Unfortunately for the NBA, I have a feeling these Celtics players will never forget how overlooked they were, and they won't be backing down or getting complacent anytime soon. There's a good chance that especially Tatum and Brown are extremely motivated to show the NBA why they should never be slept on or clowned again. They'll be going hard this offseason compared to teams like Denver, the Lakers, or other recent teams that, to be honest, kind of chilled out after winning a championship. We could absolutely be witnessing the birth of a new dynasty, maybe out of spite. People have been hating on Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum since the duo formed. From fervently anti-Celtics fans to popular personalities hating on them, these two have heard it all from a young age and surely have something to prove. Not only do the stars have a fire in their hearts, the rest of the team is seemingly willing to accept their roles for the long haul. Derek White and Jrue Holiday seem content with their roles as perimeter defense anchors and secondary scorers. Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis too seem like they've made the most of their roles on the Celtics, protecting the rim as well as being reliable secondary options on offense. It really seems like the team doesn't have strong egos, well, maybe besides Tatum. Luckily, as the top star, he does get some slack in that department. But the lack of oversized egos as a team, as well as the cohesion, has been very good since this version of the Celtics started, which is a great sign going forward. The Celtics have been super open about how the understanding and bonds formed between players were a huge reason why the team was so successful this year. Unless Jaylen Brown was right and there's a secret Nike plot to destroy the chemistry of the Celtics, it looks like the only problem this team will have to deal with is age. 2 absolutely key players that will be sadly aging out of the game pretty soon are Jrue Holiday at 34 and especially Al Horford at 38. These two provide invaluable impact on the court with the Celtics, and it may be extremely hard to replace them when their time comes. But if there's any team capable of either developing new role players or hunting new ones on the trade block, it's the Celtics. They've absolutely shown to be one of the most consistently well-ran teams for years now. If the organization finds a problem, they generally fix it, and with little likelihood of big problems arising in the future, it seems that all the pieces are in place for a true dynasty to form in Boston. Let's not forget that the main star Jason Tatum is only 26, and his co-star Jaylen Brown is only 27. There could be a potential 5 or 6 years, if not more, of those two playing at their peak. So we better strap in for the era of the Celtics. Not only are the Celtics looking great, but they probably have a free path to the finals just about every year for a while. A lot of the Celtics' Eastern rivals are looking like they might collapse any day now. Examples of this include the 76ers and the Heat. Milwaukee is being coached by Doc Rivers, so we can wish them all good luck with that one. And it's still to be seen if the new blood in the East consisting of the Knicks or Pacers are here to stay or not. They certainly haven't proven to be close to the Celtics regardless. So will the future consist of a fresh Celtics who was able to battle their way through the East with ease, facing a battered and bruised team who had to run the gauntlet of the West? For now, it looks pretty likely. Are we witnessing the birth of a Celtics dynasty on the level of Bill Russell and the boys? Or do you think Tatum is a corny good-for-nothing hack? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, we'd love if you dropped a like or subbed. Every single one counts. Thanks, and we'll see you next video.